So definitely handle your interviews professional. Ask the right questions, know what you're going for, but really treat it, be real picky about that first hire. Last little tip I would give just on the side is friends, family, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 9% Show. I'm your host, Steven Burton, and here at the 9%, y'all know we keep everything 100. If I haven't done it, not doing it, or not about to do it, it will not come out my mouth. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to the 9% Show. And like we always do around this time, we take a toast to the 9%ers out there and those that wish to get into the 9% Club one day. Toast to y'all, toast to y'all. So one of the main keys that makes me into the 9% Club is the fact that I have employees. And if you need a reminder of what the 9% is, it's only 9% of Americans that own an established business. And they define the established business, they meaning the government, as a business that pays the owner or employees for at least 3.5 years. So having employees is very much so a part of the 9% Club. And it is very hard to have employees. Well, not necessarily to have employees, but to pay employees and sustain employees and all that type of stuff. So what we're talking about today is like hiring and managing your first employee. If you get to the point where you're thinking about an employee, trust me, you are doing something right. You're having some growth in your business, and it feels like you need it. I remember when I first hired my first employee, I felt like I was so overwhelmed with what was going on with me. All this was good problems, but it was almost like if I don't grow, I'm going to drown. And an example of that would be, actually, I'm going to talk about that in my first point. So I might as well get to the first point. But yes, hiring your first employee is very intimidating. It is very, nerve-wracking. I think, if you're, some startups, have investors and things like that, and you're using other people's money, it might be a little easier at that point, because you're right out the gate. You're saying, oh, I got a $50,000 salary, $75,000 salary, whatever you need. You're getting the best talent. It's a lot easier at that point. But if you're a small business or just, bootstrapped your business, like I did, it's very scary. Okay, it's very scary. It's also very scary to have someone else that depends on you, and their livelihood is dependent on you. That's a lot of pressure there. It's no longer just about you. You have employees, and maybe you offer benefits and all type of stuff. So the pressure gets even greater, okay, when you start throwing on employees. So we go just talk about, what you should be thinking about if you are considering hiring your first employee. I'm gonna speak about, my experience and maybe give you some tips that will, help you not make some of the mistakes that I did with hiring my first employee. So yeah, let's get into this thing, okay? So the number one thing is that you need to ask yourself, why do you need an employee, okay? Be clear on the reason. For me, like I said, I had a feeling of if I was not growing, I was drowning. And when I say that, it's because when I first started perfecttux, I was a one-man show. I did everything. I did the customer service, phone support, chat support, emails. I did the shipping. I did the marketing. I did the graphic design. I did website design. I did putting the products on the website. I did the photo shoots. Everything that went under the business, digital marketing, everything I did myself. So I'll never forget when we had, some of my SEO stuff paid off, and we just got a rush of traffic during our busy peak season. And it was so busy that I could not ship and do customer service. I couldn't handle those two roles at the same time because we were getting so many calls and chats and things. And it was like, unfortunately, when people want to talk about formal wear, they got a lot of questions and it take a little time. But if I'm on the phone with you, I can't be shipping this box that I have to get up next to air because, I got to drop off UPS by 3 p.m. or whatever the case may be. I remember times driving to some of my vendors, picking up some products, pulling over on the side of the road because I wanted to answer my customer service line because I had it forwarded to my cell phone, but I didn't want it ghetto and have, a noise in the background of windows. And, hey, welcome to perfecttux. How can I help you? Like, hold on, who am I calling here? Like, I wanted everything to be professional. So there was plenty of times I was on the side of the 5 freeway, taking calls. It was just, I still think back to this one, my peak season, just doing it by myself. And when I say I was just physically, mentally drained, oh my goodness. Plus the fact of like, it got to a point where I just had to shut off the phones. I had to shut off the chat. Like, it just was what it was. I'm answering emails at nighttime so I can, so I can ship out the packages I needed to ship out. It was just some crazy time, but that wasn't sustainable because when I say if I don't grow, we're just going to drown, because what good does it do if I can't help the customers? We can't get more sales. But if I get more sales, I can't do nothing else. I can't focus on growing the business more because I'm too busy shipping a box. Like, it got to the point where it's like I can't do all of this job because then I'm slacking on these other jobs, that all these other jobs help grow the business even more. And so you're just in this place of just like, you're just kind of like, you're almost sinking. So that one for me was my why I needed an employee. Like, I saw it. It was clear as day. It was like, okay, my first employee that I needed was customer service. I needed somebody to handle all that stuff, answer the emails, answer the chats, just handle all that stuff from the customer standpoint. That will free me up. I can still ship the stuff, but then I got time to work on some other stuff in the business. So again, one thing to keep in mind there is like, it should be about growth. Okay. It wasn't about me just like easing my workload. It wasn't like, oh, I want to hire employees so I could be on the beach somewhere chilling. Okay. It was not that. A lot of people think when you hire an employee that you just want to, and I think I talked about this way in the beginning of this show, but like this attitude of like, oh, if you work in your business, you should be working on your business, not in your business, and all that type of stuff. Please don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. Tell them to shut up. They ain't ever ran no business before. And I'm going to explain why you can't have that thought process a little later on some of these tips I'm going to give. But it should not be about easing your workload for your first employee. It should truly be about growth, truly be about, I need this person to help support the business grow. Okay, because you're still in grow mode, you're still in, striving for the top, you're still in scaling mode. You are not thinking about easing your workload or just, letting somebody else do it so I can chill somewhere else. Okay, don't let that be your reason. Are you turning down business? Like, are you just, you're growing so much, you're so busy, but you can't get new business in? Like, for example, for me, in my situation, yeah, I probably did lose some sales because I couldn't answer a question for a customer or whatever the case may be. Are you lacking the time to grow? Like, can you as the business owner or whatever if you got it to the point where you got your business cooking to that degree, I'm sure you know what you're doing. I'm sure you're skillful in what you do. So do you have the time to still be skillful in what you do? Do you have the time to focus on marketing? Do you have the time to focus on whatever your skill set is in the business? Maybe you're now being taken away to do other things in the business because you're just that busy. Those are the reasons why you say, okay, it's time to hire somebody. And again, we're thinking about growth here. Okay. The second thing you want to think about, and it plays a very important role, is understanding the true cost of an employee, okay? And you should be doing some projections. Even if you got to hire someone temporarily to make you some projections, or, I hope you have QuickBooks, I hope you have P&L, I hope you got all your foundational stuff done, because, you need that to be able to do projections, but you really need to project what the true cost of an employee is. Do not just think, oh, okay, I'm gonna hire this person, he's $30,000, $40,000 a year, whoop de whoop. Like, nah, you got payroll taxes now. Trust me, every step of the way, somebody is in your pockets, okay? That is what it's about being a business owner. You got payroll taxes. Like, okay, throw an extra 10% on top of that number. Workers' comp, okay? All of a sudden, it's worker comp. Oh, somebody slip and fall, whoop de whoop. All that type of stuff. Insurance, like, everything goes up. Because heck, I remember I had to pay for a dang $30 poster board. Oh, your rights and your laws and regulations. It's like, man, every step of the way, it's like, I'm just trying to hire somebody. I'm trying to get to the economy. They're like, yeah, we hear you, but give us a little more. We need this, we need that. It's really a lot. So Really understand the true cost of employee, because if you do not project that right, you will be shocked. You all of a sudden you'll be like, okay, I'm paying all this stuff. I wasn't prepared to pay a little extra. Okay. So when you budget this thing out, please understand the true cost of it. Once you understand the true cost of it, we're going to go to number 3, which is, can you afford it? And this gives me back to what I was touching on, talking about why you should not be hiring an employee just to ease your workload. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to work in the business. I need to be working on the business. Because at the end of the day, what a lot of people don't think about, let's say your business made $50,000. Let's say your profit was $50,000. For me, I'm taking home that $50,000. It flows over to my personal side. You might pay yourself a your business might break even, but you might be an employee in your business. So you might pay yourself a paycheck. Let's say that's $50,000. However you slice it, let's just say your business makes $50,000 and that's your $50,000. Okay. If you bring on someone that makes $40,000, now your business just made $10,000. Can you live off that $10,000? Can you pay your bills off of that? Like, are you still chilling on the beach with your $10,000? Like, no. Now you have to, instead of making $50,000 profit, you got to figure out, okay, how can I make $90,000 now? That's what you got to be thinking about. And that's also a reason why you're not hiring an employee just for laughs and giggles, just to free up your time. You are hiring your employee for growth, for scaling up. They need to be able to pay for themselves. My first employee was for customer service, but that was could I have used marketing? Could I have used some other things, some other position? Yeah. If all life was great, I'll hire all type of people, photographer, whatever the case may be. But I knew the role of customer service had a direct impact on my bottom line. It was going to bring in more sales. It's like, I'm hiring you to make money, you're an investment to me. So that's how you have to think about it. And so if the person you're hiring, as you do these projections, if you're not saying, okay, this position is going to increase business, do not hire for that position. Do not hire. If you don't think it's gonna increase by X amount, whatever it is, they should at least pay for themselves. Okay, if you cannot come to that conclusion, do not hire them. Okay, it'll lead me into my next thing of like maybe what you could do, because next we're going to talk about the difference between an employee versus a contractor. Okay, you might want to hire a contractor before you might realize, you might say, I don't know, it's not worth the risk. I done calculated the true cost. I got to do payroll taxes, workers comp. I got to have, I still got to pay myself. I still got, they want benefits. I don't feel like having that pressure, somebody's livelihood in my hand. Maybe you consider having a contractor. Now, the difference between a contractor is an employee. Like a contractor, you ain't got to pay payroll tax for that. There's rules and regulations to it. So, you just can't hire a bunch of contractors, because the technical rule of a contractor is they're independent. Okay. If you over there telling them when to show up, how to show up, what to do, when to go, all that type of stuff, they're an employee. Okay. That's really how they break it down. Do they really have the independence of, being independent to do what you're doing? Maybe think of it like project-based, jobs, tasks. Like I had a driver that was driving around doing some pickups for me and things like that. Like that was like independent. I just said, hey, these are the pickups. You do it on your own schedule. I just need you to be here by this time, by the time I finish shipping or something. Like that was a contractor role that I had. Could I have done it with customer service position? I don't know. I know there's there's things you can probably find online, things that can help, but I don't know. It just depends. But that's something you need to look into. Like maybe you need to start with a contractor just to get some help. Maybe you just need a personal assistant, one of them little websites that, somebody can help you do some Excel spreadsheets or something like that. Do those before you dive into employees, because like I said, coming with employees is a lot more responsibility, a lot more costs. You're thinking about benefits, thinking about all type of stuff, how you're being competitive, how competitive it is to find that employee. Like, I live in LA. It's very difficult. Like, they can make some cool money at McDonald's. Can I even compete? I want somebody with a little more skill set, and it's like the, minimum wage, all that type of stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot to think about. So, just really consider that might be your real first step is looking into a contractor versus an employee. So I would really give that a thought. But if after you get that thoughts and you've thought about everything, you thought about you understand your why you need this employee, you've realized the cost of the employee, you made your projections, you find out you can afford it, you find out that, I can have an employee, I don't need a contractor, I do need an employee. The next step is like, okay, well, let's start putting the words out. And the last tip I will give you is you need to interview like a business owner, okay? This is not no friendly conversation. I was very intimidated when I first had my first interview. When I was interviewing someone, I was nervous, like I was applying for the job, and it was kind of crazy because some imposter syndrome crept in about like, oh my gosh, they go walk in here and I have this little tiny office. We're not doing it that big. We're kind of business made like $300,000 out there. We're not. I'm not these large companies. Forget all that. You know what? I'm offering a job here, okay? Get your swag up. Understand that you are offering a job. It is what it is, okay? Like, understand you are made for this, but you want to be prepared, okay? Have your questions. Be prepared. Treat it like you are a professional because it's really, you need to make the best decision you can. And for me, that first hire, I'm not gonna lie to you. This was before remote work and all that stuff was real easy. They were gonna be in my little 500 square office next to me. Not only did I need to know that you could do the job I'm wanting you to do, but I cared about your personality too. Because I wasn't gonna sit in the box with somebody I didn't want to sit in the box with. Like, I needed somebody that was like lively, that can bounce some ideas off of, like, so if you came in there funky with that funky attitude, but you was great, or I just didn't like your vibes, you was probably not getting hired. I mean, I don't know if that was discrimination or something, but I was definitely reading your vibes, okay? So I could pick it well, but whatever you need, you got to think about that type of stuff, okay? And so definitely handle your interviews professional, ask the right questions, know what you're going for, but really treat it, be real picky about that first hire. Last little tip I would give just on the side is friends, family, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I have one of my best employees, okay, was a friend of mine, and she's been amazing. Actually, she's a partner on the 9% show, Mel. She also works with me at perfecttux. She's been amazing. So she is an outlier of this, but I have tried, I think, 2 or 3 friends, and it's never worked out well. I won't say that I would never hire friends again, but I just will not hire friends or family until I have a buffer between us. I could be the CEO and like, hey friend, okay, holler at this manager right here. You want a job? Okay, talk to this manager. They'll hook you up. We can still kick it. We can still be friends. Hey, I'll see you later. See you later. But I do not need to. I don't want you directly reporting to me. I think if I ever hired a friend again, it would be a buffer. But it's just like, hey, business and pleasure, business and friends. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. I think I had handled it okay as far as like trying to really create that boundary there. But at the end of the day, it is very tough. So I would just definitely, I would avoid that if you can. But sometimes, your friends might, take a little less money, do something on the side, they ain't tripping as much. So I understand it, I get it, but I might let that go. All right, so there we go. We're talking about hiring your first employee. Are you hiring your first employee? How was your first employee experience? Hey, put it in the comments. Let us know. Okay. Until next time, please like, subscribe to our channel, share this video if it was helpful to you. Till next time, we will catch you on the 9% show. Peace.